Is everybody in? Is everybody in? Is everybody in? The ceremony is about to begin.
Good evening, and a very, very warm welcome to this world premiere of a new demolition film from the mighty Caterpillar. This is the first of two films, at least so far, and we'll be bringing you the second film on Wednesday, the 14th of December, exactly 2 weeks from now. While we're waiting for a few more latecomers to arrive, I wanted to give you a little bit of background, and I also wanted to give you an opportunity to win a prize or two tonight. So let me start with the main prize. I have three of these. That is a hydraulic breaker model. Obviously, it's a Caterpillar hydraulic breaker model. We've got three of those to give away. And we're going to do a prize draw for the three lucky winners right at the end of the show. All you need to do to be in with a chance of winning one of those breaker models is to type the word CAT, C-A-T, into the chat, starting roughly now. And as I say, we'll draw the winners right after the film. Now, please bear in mind, if you're watching this on DemolitionNews.com, and I can see that some of you are, then please click the YouTube symbol at the foot of your screen. You have to enter this competition from Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Twitter. We can't take comments from Demolition News because you can't leave comments on Demolition News. There's also another prize up for grabs, but before we get to that, allow me to give you a very quick sneak preview of what we have in store for you in just a moment or two. Now, you may have noticed that the star of those films is a guy by the name of Gilles Ronet. Gilles is actually on the show tonight. We'll be bringing him on a bit later on in the show. But I also said there was a second prize up for grabs. First, I need to give you a bit of background. Back in 2019, I was lucky enough to travel to Japan as a guest of Caterpillar as part of a European Demolition Association study tour. That trip was memorable for three key reasons. The first is I got to spend some time with the star of tonight's show, Gilles. Not only does Gilles know his demolition, he's a really, really nice guy as well, which you'll be finding out a bit later on. The second reason my trip was so memorable, rather, was that I was among the first people in the world to see a Cat 340 straight boom excavator in the iron. I also got to see a prototype machine that was to become the Cat 352 demolition excavator. Those two machines, for me personally, marked Caterpillar's return to precisely where it belongs, at the very epicenter of the global demolition industry. And I've been following the success of those ever since. The third reason that the trip was so memorable was simply that it was Japan. I found the trip so unbelievably inspiring that I actually wrote a book when I got back. The book is called The Japanese Way, and we've got 3 copies of that book. There you are. Try and turn it the right way. There's 3 copies of that book available tonight as well. So while the film is playing, I need you to type the word Japan into the chat as well, and you'll be entered into the prize draw for that one too. Now, that film is keyed up. It's ready to begin. So just another quick reminder before we actually kick things off. Type the word CAT into the chat to win one of the 3 breaker models for your chance to win one of those, and type Japan in the chat for your chance to win one of those books. And just one final point. Caterpillar has actually created a dedicated website for all things demolition. You can find out more about the company's demolition products, its work tools. You can download wallpapers for your mobile device, and you can sign up to receive Caterpillar's demolition dedicated newsletter as well. You'll find a link for that in the chat, which I'm going to post in just a second. Now, grab your popcorn, turn off your phone, finish your conversations, because the show is about to begin. Talk amongst yourselves for a moment. We seem to have had an issue with the stream there. 1 second. Let me just try and key that up again. Bear with me 1 second. and this played absolutely perfectly about 10 minutes ago. Can you believe it? Here we go.
Tu nous emmènes où aujourd'hui?
La surprise va être de taille. Je vous emmène sur un des chantiers les plus spectaculaires de démolition. Allons-y. Bonjour à toutes et à tous, bienvenue au Caterpillar European Demolition Tour. Nous sommes aujourd'hui sur un chantier de démolition hors norme, proche de la frontière luxembourgeoise, en collaboration avec notre concessionnaire Bergera Monoyeur Belgique et notre hôte, l'entreprise Martens Democom, qui est en charge de cette démolition. Celle-ci fait partie d'un ensemble de visites de sites de démolition que nous allons vous présenter durant les prochains mois, en parcourant différents pays d'Europe et donc différentes techniques de démolition. J'espère que vous apprécierez la découverte de ce métier absolument passionnant qu'est la démolition sous toutes ses facettes. Mais rejoignons tout de suite notre hôte, qui n'est autre que Romain, le chargé d'affaires de Martens Democom, en charge des travaux de démolition de ce chantier. Allons-y. Romain, bonjour.
Bonjour Gilles.
Merci de nous accueillir sur ce site, pour le moins imposant. Mais avant de le visiter, nous aimerions connaître un peu qui tu es et quels sont tes rôles et responsabilités dans cette démolition.
Mon rôle au sein de l'entreprise Martens Democom est d'établir des devis concernant les chantiers de démolition et de démantèlement.
Oui.
Une fois que le client nous confie l'exécution des travaux, mon rôle est de m'assurer que le chantier soit exécuté correctement et en toute sécurité.
Est-ce que tu peux nous présenter l'entreprise Martens Democom?
Oui, Martens Democom est un groupe belge, une société qui est basée à Genk, à côté de Liège.
Ok.
L'activité démolition a été créée en 2008. Nous sommes spécialisés dans la démolition d'anciens sites industriels, comme les aciéries, comme le chantier de Grande-Range, mais également les centrales électriques, les centrales thermiques, des choses.
Bon, essentiellement des structures métalliques.
Alors oui, c'est plus notre cheval de bataille, comme tu disais, le démantèlement des structures métalliques.
Alors Romain, peux-tu nous dire où nous sommes et de quel type de chantier il s'agit? Connais-tu l'histoire du site? Et il me semble même qu'il y a un petit surnom à cette construction.
Oui, tout à fait. Nous sommes sur l'ancien site ArcelorMittal de Grande-Range-Rombat. Les ouvriers ainsi que la population locale l'a surnommée la cathédrale d'acier. Elle a été créée en 1890 oui. Et à son apogée, elle a employé jusqu'à 13 000 personnes sur le site.
D'accord.
Voilà. Malheureusement, elle a fermé en 2009. Et à cette époque, elle produisait encore 1 million de tonnes de bloom par an.
1 million de tonnes de bloom par an, plus tous les autres profilés, j'imagine, qui viennent se rajouter en plus du tonnage de bloom qui était fait à l'époque.
Oui, c'est ça. Sa capacité maximale de production était d'environ 3,4 millions de tonnes d'acier par an.
Absolument considérable. Alors en ce qui concerne cette démolition, quelles sont les étapes principales d'un tel chantier? Quels sont on va dire, les défis, les contraintes pour toi réaliser un tel chantier?
Alors la première étape, après la fermeture, a été une étape de sécurisation du site et d'aménagement des accès, de manière à pouvoir faire intervenir les premières personnes en toute sécurité.
Oui.
Une fois cette phase terminée, il a fallu purger les différentes machines et également traiter les travaux de désamiantage. Une fois cette étape terminée, c'est là vraiment que la démolition a pu démarrer. En traitant en premier lieu les outils et les machines qui sont situés donc, sur le niveau 0 et la partie basse du bâtiment. Et une fois que cette étape se termine, on commence à abattre la structure, le bâtiment en lui-même par section.
D'accord. Donc en premier, on vide le bâtiment, on désamiante, on cure le bâtiment, ensuite on ouvre le bâtiment pour l'aérer, pour donner accès au bâtiment, et ensuite seulement vous faites la phase de démolition d'abattage.
C'est ça, c'est ça.
Ok. Et peux-tu nous donner un peu des chiffres concernant ce chantier qui est vraiment absolument hors norme quand on voit la structure, le bâtiment, genre quelle est la surface du site, quelles sont les dimensions des bâtiments, le tonnage mis en œuvre, le délai d'exécution par exemple?
Ce bâtiment-là, donc la scierie, est un bâtiment qui fait jusqu'à 400 mètres de long et jusqu'à 150 mètres de largeur. Et elle culmine à un certain point à 80 mètres de hauteur.
À 80 mètres, hein?
Un bâtiment vraiment impressionnant. Les machines qui sont mises en œuvre actuellement, ce sont 5 pelles hydrauliques équipées de différents outils. Et au niveau du personnel, nous avons donc 5 conducteurs d'engin et une dizaine d'oxycoupeurs.
Donc assez peu de machines, mais quand même beaucoup de main-d'œuvre pour pouvoir faire manuellement le travail. En termes de tonnage, de béton et de ferraille, quels sont les chiffres à peu près?
Eh bien, on peut parler d'environ 55 000 tonnes de ferraille.
55 000 tonnes de ferraille, je ne sais pas si vous imaginez ce que ça représente.
Et environ 30 000 tonnes de béton.
30 000 tonnes de béton. Que vont devenir en fait cette ferraille et ce béton?
Alors tous les produits ferreux, donc tous les aciers et les non ferreux sont revalorisés dans des usines de la région, directement refondus ou une partie part chez les recycleurs, notamment locaux.
Et en ce qui concerne le béton?
Le béton sera entièrement concassé de manière à être utilisé sur le site pour les différents remblaiements de fosses et de trous. Il sera entièrement valorisé sur le site.
Bien, merci Romain. Et si maintenant tu nous faisais découvrir cette cathédrale, enfin s'il en reste, hein, voyons un petit peu de quoi est fait cette ex-entreprise et comment tu es en train de la démonter.
Avec plaisir Gilles, rapprochons-nous.
Voilà mes amis, la conclusion de cette visite de chantier de démolition dédié aux structures industrielles métalliques. J'espère que comme nous, vous avez pris plaisir à découvrir le cœur d'un tel chantier d'exception. Je suis particulièrement impressionné, je dois bien dire, par le savoir-faire de l'entreprise Martens Demolition qui mène ce chantier d'une main de maître. Il me reste à remercier l'entreprise qui nous accueille, Martens Demolition, pour son aide et sa flexibilité. Merci à toi Romain. À très bientôt, stay tuned, stay safe.
I think you'll agree that was one astonishing film. And as you saw at the very end there is more to come. Before I tell you more about that and before we get our guest onto the show tonight, just wanted to remind you, don't forget to type the words cat or Japan or possibly both into the chat for your chance to win an exclusive prize. Now, the star of that film, unquestionably, well, the co-star, the machines were the main star, but the co-star of that film was my friend Gilles Ronet, and I'm delighted that Gilles is able to join us right now. Good evening, Gilles.
Good evening, everyone. Very happy to join you tonight or this evening, depending where you are in the world, for seeing this first episode of a series of several episodes of Demolition Job Sites we wanted to broadcast and to describe to you.
What I found interesting, and it kind of reiterated something that I said in the build up to that, is the fact that you've taken the time and the effort and the expense to put together so far 2 films on this. This really marks Caterpillar's return to the very forefront of demolition, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we came back, let's say, if I can say that, in 2017 with the first 340 thread boom demolition machine as a new lineup. Since that time, we have developed several new units, the 352 UHD, the 340 UHD in different configurations, depending the reach, the pin height, and we will continue to also develop our lineup for being, as we were in the past, a complete full liner in terms of machine, but also work tools. We, Caterpillar, have this specialty, let's say, that we deliver or we produce, we manufacture the machine dedicated or purpose-built demolition machine, but also all the related demolition work tools for those machines.
Yeah, it's interesting you pick up on work tools there, because that's kind of the bit of the Caterpillar product range that I tend to forget about. And yet it is a full line manufacturer. Breakers, shears, grabs, pulverizers. You've actually got a work tool for pretty much every eventuality, haven't you?
Yeah, and our let's say design department or center of excellence for developing those work tools is based in the Netherlands, in Europe. This is where we develop our new generation of work tools, and especially the last one we launched on the market a few years ago with the speed booster technology, which is really let's say an extreme powerful and performant tool or concept or technology compared to what you can find out on the market. This gives you this opportunity to have an extreme low cycle times or extreme good cycle time, but the consequence of this technology is that you are also reducing the fuel burn. And if you reduce the fuel burn, you reduce also on your machine with the combination of the what we call next gen machine by Caterpillar. You also reduce your AdBlue consumption. You also reduce, of course, the emissions. And this is extremely key for the moment. As you may know, everywhere, especially in Europe, we are chasing about emissions, reduction of emissions, and being able to have this technology in our work tools and in our machines leads to this emission reduction. Extremely key for the customers today.
It's interesting that you pick up on emissions reduction. One of the reports that we did not so long ago was with Rye Demolition, and Rye Demolition had actually changed their allegiance here in the UK to Caterpillar through Finning, and they'd gone for the Caterpillar brand because they were switching entirely over to HVO. HVO is obviously a bit of a stopgap fuel.
Yeah.
Where is Caterpillar in terms of future fuels as well? Obviously, we're looking at HVO, but there's a lot of talk now about electric and hydrogen, not specifically for demolition, but there are future fuels coming down the line, aren't there?
So for the moment, everyone, I would say, all the manufacturer is looking what will be the best technology we can bring on the market for matching with those let's say emissions requirements that we have. This is more and more strict today. What the national regulation is asking for in terms of emissions. What will be the next step exactly in terms of technology in our machines, in our work tools for achieving or reaching this goal? We don't know exactly. We are working on several ways. Let's say we are developing several technologies. We are testing different technologies that we will. In the coming years, introduce on the market. As you have maybe seen during Bauma last October in Germany, we have presented the first battery electric powered machine. This is one of the technology we want to have in our in our portfolio for the customers, but not the only one, because we are also working on additional source of energy, like for instance hydrogen. HVO, as you mentioned, is already valid for all our engines in our demolition machines today. Some customers, and especially in UK, are really advanced by using such a kind of fuel, HVO fuel, which is reducing almost by 90% the CO2 emissions. So extremely powerful source of fuel, let's say, having this capability to reduce so much the CO2 emission. But again, for the moment, we are exploring, investigating different sources of energy, because not sure we all have one only source of energy for the future.
I'm just going to stop very quickly and say good evening. Or somebody said Al Grierson over in Luxembourg, who was lives very close to the project we've just shown, has just said good evening, Gilles. And we've got another one who says bonsoir, Gilles. So you're a popular guy in the chat tonight. One of the things that always strikes me about demolition, and I've watched this over the years, is the manufacturers and the OEMs that seem to be the most successful in the field of demolition are those that are truly committed to it. And I think, speaking personally, since about 2019, it really is like Caterpillar has put a laser focus on demolition. The very fact that you're a product specialist and you are clearly very specialized in that industry. Was there a meeting at some headquarters of Caterpillar, and they said the next thing we're going to target is demolition? Because there really does seem to be that focus there now.
So I would say for us, we are continuously developing and investing in the demolition segment. We will have soon, let's say, quite good surprises in the coming 2 years in terms of new product arriving on the market. For the customers who have known, let's say, the previous demolition purpose-built machine from Caterpillar, they will have, let's say, extreme good surprises arriving in the coming years with additional machines and additional sizes of machines and work tools, including the related work tools that we are going to launch in the coming years. This is where we want to go. Again, we want to be a full liner in term of offering, not only a machine. We are also talking about the service and all the related, let's say, features that you can have for bringing more safety, more comfort for the people, and of course acting in terms of emission reduction, because this is where the customer are really pushing us in the back for meeting this goal.
I was speaking to one of the manufacturers of attachments while I was at Bauma. And one of the points that he made was we seem to spend years within the demolition circle trying to go ever higher and ever higher. We went to 30 meters, to 40, to 50, to 60, to 70.
Yeah.
Over the past few years, there seems to have been kind of a rationalization, and to the point where the guy that I was talking to is talking about specific heavier attachments for that, specifically for the CAT 352, the PC 490 from Komatsu. There does seem to be a consolidation around that. What do you think that is down to?
I think this is what you mentioned is correct. We see a consolidation concerning a certain reach of machines, or pin height reach. What we see two trends. One is yes, heavier work tools for the machine. So the race, I would say, at the reach is not ongoing. Of course, we have some machines going at very high pin height, but the consolidation is around, let's say, 40 meters, between 20 up to 40 meters. This is where we have the majority and the consolidation in terms of pin height. What we see also, the second trend we see is we see more and more full automatic couplers arriving on our markets. And this is an game changer, I would say. This full automatic couplers. Caterpillar has launched recently what we call the HCS. This is a hydraulic coupler based on the S platform. Instead of having, as we had till now for the last 20 years, multiprocessor where you had the capability to replace or to change, to swap the jaw sets on an housing in 10, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, depending on the brand. We see now a complete difference. Different trends, being a full automatic coupler able to swap a work tools in a minute. And this being said, this is extremely important because we can have now dedicated work tools for one task, for dedicated task, having a different cinematic which give us a much powerful tool. And this is really what we see as trend in the market today. So yes, a consolidation in terms of machine reach and pin height, but also now more and more full automatic couplers on our machines, allowing the customer to swap from one work tool to the other in a minute or below the minute, but also having much more powerful tools because we can design now work tools with a dedicated cinematic, which was not exactly the case with a multiprocessor, because a multiprocessor has, let's say, an average cinematic able to do everything, half concrete, half rebar, half, let's say, scrap application or tank shear, etc. application, but not an optimum cinematic tool by tool. With now this new full automatic couplers arriving on the market, we will have much more dedicated work tools having much powerful forces for doing the job.
I think one of the things that I found interesting watching, certainly here in the UK, companies like Armac and AR Demolition, who have made a really big switch over to quick couplers,
Yep.
is not just the fact that they can have a bigger array, but it seems that the operators now have ready access to the right attachment. I think in years gone by, if you were taking down a building and you encountered a bit of rebar, maybe you try to prise it open with a grab or something like that. Now it's so easy to drop that off, put a shear on, and just snip that. It makes it really does change the entire process, doesn't it?
Exactly. And this is the target. To be frank, we want to be sure that the operator will have the right tool for the right application at the right moment, for being sure that he's working always in safe condition. And having this quick coupler, this full automatic coupler, gives him now the capability, this possibility to have a panel of work tools for the right application at the right spot. And this is really, in terms of productivity, also a big improvement compared to what we had in the past.
We've been talking about fuels, and we just had a comment in here from one of the people in the chat, Mick Norton. Gilles, CAT's recent demonstration of its first battery electric 793 large mining truck in Arizona shows that Caterpillar is investing in sustainable solutions. Quite clearly it does, and it does throw open this notion. We've kind of been working on the assumption that maybe we would have electric machines up to 15, maybe 20 tons, then we would go to hydrogen above that, and then at the very top end we would probably go back to electric for mines and quarries. But Caterpillar has the ability to, quite clearly, in a 793 truck, which is a very, very big truck indeed, to run it on batteries. Does that make electricity a possibility for the demolition environment at some point?
Today, no. To be frank, no, because we need the major issue the customers are facing in our segment, let's say demolition, is access to electricity. When you are on a demolition job site, you have mainly very often no more energy on the job site. That means you need to bring an energy cable or an energy source on this demolition site. And then that means you need also to link this energy source to the machine. And this combination is extremely complicated for the customer to manage on the job site itself. So today, there is no good solution. It's not what we think. This is what the customers think and tell us. There is not today let's say, satisfying solution with electrical, let's say, powered machine for the demolition segment, if we are talking, of course, for machine above 20-ton excavator.
having spent a week at Balmer, I came away with two key things. The first, obviously, was future fuel, so electric and hydrogen. The other was telematics and remote machine monitoring. Now, obviously, Caterpillar has been at the very forefront of that for decades.
Yep.
Is that kind of telematics and remote monitoring and remote system management making its way into the field of demolition?
Yes, this is a good point for something what you mentioned here, especially for, let's say, ground level application for machines, straight boom machine or standard machines. This becomes now a standard in our portfolio. If you order today to a 15, 20 or 40 ton excavator, you can have this remote control option activated on your machine. This is more and more something we see. Yes, but again, this is focused on specific application where you are working in let's say dangerous environmental conditions, or where the job site must be done without human being people for safety reasons. But this is a clear trend for the moment. For high-reach demolition, remote control, no, we are not at this stage today. Again, this is customer's voice here. We are not at the moment where we will see, on short term at least, high-reach demolition machines remote control on job sites.
But what about things like data gathering? Obviously, we've got sort of major quarry companies and major mining companies that are using telematics to monitor their machines and fault diagnosis and that kind of thing. Has that made its way into demolition?
On short term, no, I don't see that we will be able to have such a solution arriving in our segment demolition. Why not in the future? But something to investigate. But for the moment, we are not. Let's say this is not a common request coming from the customers in our segment.
Now, we've talked about work tools, and I think one of the things that I found most striking recently, you mentioned quick couplers, and that's been a major advance. But I think another key advance is the fact that you can actually set the excavator for each individual work tool. You can set the flows and the pressures and everything else. Take me through that. How does that work in real time?
So that's an interesting question, because we have launched let's say 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, a dedicated telematic solution on our work tools, which is called for us PL161. This is a product linked solution. This is a small, let's say, a box that you have on each single work tool. This box is talking, is communicating with the machine. Can also communicate via Bluetooth with your cellular phone for monitoring the tool itself, the working hours, etc. And this telematic solution gives you different features. First, you can know where your tool is located. This is the first feature. The second, we have also the capability to recognize, as we recognize which tool it is, to set the hydraulic pressure and flow for each individual work tool. So no risk anymore to have a longer matching in terms of hydraulic requirements between the tool and the machine. We also have what we call measure up, including in this solution. That means, by Caterpillar, we have what we call e-fence. This is electronic, let's say, fences around the machine, like an electronic bubble, a digital bubble around our machines. As we are connecting this PL161 tool from our work tools to the machines, let's say, the bubble is adjusted, the safety bubble around the machine is adjusted according the dimension of this work tool. So if you are working with a bucket, if we are working with a scrap shear, if we are working with a hammer, of course, the dimensions of those different work tools are not the same, but the safety bubble will be adjusted automatically because the machine is recognizing these work tools. This is really something very important that will become is already a standard for Caterpillar work tools, for all hardware mechanical work tools we already deliver and manufacture today. And this combination is interesting because you can report, you can monitor what's happened with the work tools, you can know how many real working hours your tool has, and you can schedule in advance the maintenance, the service for each of these work tools. For instance, your hammer, you have to replace, to reseal your hammer after, let's say, 600 hours. Having this small tool on your hammer, it gives you the capability to schedule the maintenance of your hammer upfront. So this is, in terms of maintenance and cost savings, an interesting features that we have now on our work tools, and that makes, let's say, an easier life for the customer.
Yeah, I think there's an interesting side to that as well. The fact that obviously Caterpillar and the other manufacturers that are using that data, you can actually analyze, as you said, things like true working hours, not guessed working hours. And, you can actually sort of create designs, future designs based around that. Now, before we get into that, we've had a question from our friend Mick, who says, Gilles, a question for you. Do you think that changing to electric, hydrogen, etc., will not bring its own problems in the years to come, i.e. the cleaning up of the batteries at end of use? Before you get into that, it's been a constant topic of conversation on my breakfast show over the past 2 years. The very fact that we have generations, as you well know, generations of operators and mechanics and fitters that they know everything there is to know about a diesel engine. But we're now on the verge of handing them an electric battery or a hydrogen fuel cell. There's going to be a shift, isn't there?
Yes, this will be a shift for sure. But I agree with what is mentioned by you, your auditor here. We will bring, of course, we will have also the related issue with the new technology if we introduce those new technology on the job sites, on the machines on the job sites. This is why today decision is not made about which technology should be implemented in our machine for the future. This is also why we are exploring different ways with different technologies. We have to measure and to control what will be the benefits and of each of these different technologies. But for sure, this will be a challenge, not only for us, manufacturer, but also for the customer, because he has to work on a day-to-day basis with all these challenges on the job site. And he will have also to rethink about the skills of the operator, the skills of the mechanics, if we change the technology. Will we be able to, let's say, to repair, to maintain machines on the job site as we do today with the actual fuel technology? Question mark. This is just the starting point, let's say, of introducing new technologies today, including in our segment Demolition now.
And I mean, I guess you as Caterpillar and your global dealer network, you are going through that as well. You've got people within your global dealer network they know everything there is to know about a diesel engine, but soon they will have to learn how to deal with batteries and hydrogen. Now, I'm going to throw up another question. I don't necessarily expect you to answer it, but I'll throw it up anyway. We've had this one come in from Baumaterial Benelux. When will Cat bring bigger models like the 374 UHD and the 395 UHD? I know you've hinted at some more machines coming down the line. As I say, I don't expect you to necessarily answer that, but over to you, Gilles. What do you think?
I cannot reply straight to the point to this question. Unfortunately, I understand the question. We are working on extending our actual range of portfolio of machines, and also by introducing and implementing the next gen platform on the next machine we are going to launch. Nothing I can confirm today, but more to come, to be frank, in a coming year.
Yeah, that's a very diplomatic answer, just exactly what I was expecting. Had another comment in from our friend Mick. Gilles, thank you for your insight on the latest CAT demolition products. Great to hear your pride in the Caterpillar applications that are currently being manufactured and researched. Yeah, I think that does come across. As I mentioned in the intro, I got to spend some time with you over in Japan, and your passion for the industry. I think sometimes you see people that are in demolition as possibly a stepping stone onto something else. You came across, and you've come across tonight as a guy that really just loves demolition. You happen to work for Caterpillar, but you love demolition.
Definitely, to be frank, I am extremely happy to be in this segment. This is a high knowledgeable segment, talking with the people, being on the field every day. I'm talking about the customers, of course. Then you cannot imagine how smart they are and the quality they have in terms of skills for being able to do what they do. I'm in this business for 32 years now. I'm always impressed and still impressed with what the customers are able to do today in this segment. They are flexible enough to adapt themselves to all this new technology, all the new machine and work tools and services. And they succeed, to be frank, they succeed. This is an extremely interesting segment too. If I had to make a recommendation to the young generation, please have a look at the demolition segment. You can really make a nice job, earn very well your life by working in this segment. I really encourage everyone to have a look at what's happening in the demolition segment. It's really interesting. You always learn more and more each single day. And to be frank, join us. You're welcome.
It's a very good point you make, and I'm going to do the prize draw in just a second to let you get back to your evening, because I'm guessing you're 1 hour ahead, so you're losing even more of the evening than I am. A very quick question. You mentioned there the customers.
Yeah.
How I've worked with Caterpillar over the years, and I'm aware of things like your field follow program of putting machines out on trial with customers. But how much is the design of things like the 352 UHD and the 340 straight boom? How much of that stems from customer feedback?
You mean what is the feedback of the customer after launch of this tool, for instance?
No, I'm thinking more before. Do Caterpillar sit down with customers and say, if we could come up with a 50-ton class demolition excavator, what would you like? And then take that feedback. Is that how it works?
Oh yes, it is how it works. In fact, our job is to manufacture, but we are not going to reinvent the wheel. The knowledge are by CAT, of course, as manufacturer. We have extreme good designers. That's not the question here. But we design what the customer need. So for us, the first step is really to meet customers, to have their feedback, what we call by us the voice of customers. And starting from this voice of customers, we are going to define a machine depending on what they told us. Then we are coming back to visit those customers with the idea of the machine we have designed for validating what we have done and seeing if it is matching with their requirement, with their expectation. And if yes, then we start to manufacture the prototype and the field follow starts. Field follow is our internal process for manufacturing or several machines and testing the machine with customers. This is how we are organized and how we with the customer are developing together the new machines, but according what they need and not what we think they should have. This is our internal process, and to be frank, this is the best one. If we look at the program, the first new UHD we have launched, it's now 3 years ago, the 352 UHD. From this starting point to now, it has been an extreme successful program. We haven't done any mistake in this program. The machine is extremely powerful, extremely stable, and extremely performing in terms of work tools weight capability. If you look at this machine, for instance, this machine has the best work tools weight ratio versus the pin height on what you can find on the market. Machine extremely strong, robust, stable on his tracks. And of course, with the next gen platform, giving to the customers all the benefits of the fuel reduction, consumption reduction. So really just listening, converting what the customer tells us into design and validating this with the customers before to launch it on the market.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I've got one final question for you before we actually put people out of their misery and find out who's won the models and the books.
Yep.
As you've just mentioned, we've just all returned from Bauma. The next Bauma is 3 years away, so 2025. What will the demolition industry look like in 2025? What are you expecting to see on the Caterpillar stand, but also in the wider field of demolition?
Probably, my guess again, difficult always to have to know what will happen in the coming years, but probably more and more connectivity between the operator, the machine, and the customer's office. We will integrate certainly more and more technology for improving the cycle time, for improving the accuracy of the positioning of the machine. This is certainly also something where we have to perform more in the future for saving time and for being sure that we always are in safe conditions, meaning, of course, operator safety here. Yes, connectivity is certainly, technology around connectivity is certainly one of the key, let's say, improvement we will see in the coming 2-3 years till next Bauma. This is what I think, my feeling.
I said that was the final question, but somebody else has just come up with another one, and I do think this is a very interesting one. Will Caterpillar collaborate directly with the customer in order to create the future machine? We've actually seen over in the mining field, Caterpillar actually joining forces with the major mining companies in North America and in Australia and other places around the world to actually create hydrogen fuel trucks and that kind of thing. My guess is that there isn't sufficient volume within the demolition market for that to work within demolition. But is that a possibility?
Oh, probably yes. Again, we need collaboration because we have a portion of the answer, certainly, but the customer has also a big portion of the answer, of the solution, let's say, of the answer of the solution. So we need to collaborate together for being sure that the market, for being sure that we introduce on the market what the customer needs really. So yes, probably such a collaboration is the right way. Yes.
And just when you think there's no more questions, there is another one. Our friend over in Benelux, to demolish heavy concrete structures, a concrete shear with 2 cylinders is better for the boom. Is CAT also bringing this special tool? Obviously, we have seen dual ram attachments being developed by some of these attachment specialists. Is that something that Caterpillar is working on?
Definitely yes. This is one way where we are also investigating. For the moment, we have in our demolition tools, let's say for doing it quickly, saying it quickly, one horizontal cylinder concept or design. But for sure, yes, we are working also on this solution with 2 vertical, let's say, cylinders for making it easy to understand. Again, what is making the difference between what is today on the market and what we will bring to tomorrow on the market is what we call the speed booster technology. This speed booster technology we already have today in our multiprocessor or pulverizer or crushers will also be implemented in this 2 vertical cylinder solution. And why are we doing this? Because this solution, we are able with this technology to reduce the size of the cylinder by delivering more power than with the standard technology, which means we need less oil in our cylinders. Using less oil, our pumps are turning less. If our pumps are turning less for feeding the cylinders, then we have a lower fuel consumption, we have a lower AdBlue consumption, and we are reducing the emissions. Exactly what we do today with our 1 horizontal cylinder concept, we will exactly have the same concept on the 2 vertical cylinders work tools that we are, yes, indeed, working on.
I'm going to let you go in just 1 second, but they're just going to leave you with one final comment. Mick says, good to see and hear from someone from the manufacturer who likes demolition as Gilles does. I totally agree. Gilles, it's been an absolute pleasure. I won't ask you to stay around for the prize draw because, as I say, it must be nearly 9 o'clock where you are, I guess, and I'm sure you've got better things to do. I really do appreciate your time this evening. Love the film, love the chat even more. I'll be back here again for the second part on the 14th of December. I'd love to have you back if you can find time in your diary. But until then, Gilles, it's been an absolute pleasure. Take care of yourself, my friend. If I don't speak to you before, have a great Christmas, and I'll see you very soon.
Okay, thank you. See you soon.
Okay, so that's the main part of the show done. So let's find out who has won. We'll start because it's already keyed up, I think. Let me just check. Yes, it is. Let me just start with the books. So let's have a look, and we'll call the draw. It's 17 entries. Let's see who has won the first round. Al Grierson over in Luxembourg is our first winner of a book. I just noticed while those were rolling through that I'm actually entered myself. I promise I won't take one because I've already got one. So Al, you've got yourself a book coming to you. I've already got your address, I'm fairly sure. So I'll be sending that over to you very soon. I'm going to draw again to see who the next winner of the book is going to be. Mark Whiting. Congratulations, Mark. You are also a winner of the Japanese Way book. I shall be sending that down to you. I won't sign it because that would definitely devalue it. And I'm going to draw it one last time for our third winner. And then we'll go over to look at who has won the breaker models from Caterpillar. There we go. That's the last of those. Yes, I'm not going to win that myself. That would be in really poor taste. Let me draw again. It's like the gremlins are out to get me. We can't have Al Grierson having 2 copies of the book. I think one is plenty. So we're going to draw it again. Paul Latham. Paul Latham has won the third and final book. Paul, I'm not sure if I've got your address. Please let me know what it is, and I'll get that out to you. It obviously won't be today now because it's night time. I'm going to take that off and I'm going to find another one to bring up. Bear with me 1 second. Stop that. I've got to share my screen, and this time I'm going to go with this one. You should be seeing that one now, and obviously the models are far more popular than the book. Which is only right and proper. Let's see who has won the first of the models. Let's hope we share the love just a little bit. Jeff Pinion. Jeff, thank you very much indeed for being here. Jeff, you have got yourself a Caterpillar breaker model. Let's go over to here again and let's draw again to see who has won the second of those breaker models. Ken Hatcher has got himself, we've got a breaker model heading on down to Wales, probably on Friday now. So congratulations to you as well, Ken. And for the final time, let's draw it again and find out who our last winner. I'm going to say this very quickly. We are back here with Caterpillar on the 14th of December. We will have 3 more of these models up for grabs on that night. So this is not necessarily your last chance, but it's your last chance tonight. So here goes for the final time. And Mick Norton has won as well. I think Mick was a winner on our giveaway show just a few days ago. So Mick and all the other winners this evening, let me have your addresses as soon as the show is over and done with, and I'll get all of those out to you before the end of this year. Well, before the end of this week, actually. So you'll have them in time for Christmas. Not entirely sure why you will need a book or a Caterpillar model in time for Christmas, but we'll make sure that that happens. I'm just going to go back to the chat very, very quickly to throw up this one comment. Mick Norton says, thank you, Gilles. Magnifique. I totally agree. It's been an absolutely fantastic show. Really enjoyed your company tonight, particularly that of Gilles Ronet. Don't forget that if you look at the top of the chat, you can find a link to the Caterpillar website, dedicated website for all things demolition. Go and take a look, have a look around, download one of the wallpapers for your mobile phone or for your iPad. But while you're there, sign up for the Demolition newsletter. It's very, very good. I have nothing to do with it, but it's very, very good. Make sure you go and get yourself a copy of that. And if you didn't win tonight, be back here on the 14th of December for more of the same. I hope to see you then. And let's have a look. Peter Ferguson says, thanks, Mark, once again for your work to bring all this together. It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much indeed. Mick Norton says, thanks, Mark, for a great show. The discussion with Caterpillar Gilles was second to none. It helps if the guest is also second to none. So people, have a great evening. Go and watch the football, assuming you're going to do that. We'll be back. I'll be back on Friday for my breakfast show, 10 a.m. in the morning. I'll also be back on the 14th of December with or possibly without Gilles, but we'll be talking Caterpillar yet again. But until then, everybody have a great evening. Thank you for all your input. Thank you for your questions. And I'll see you all again very, very soon indeed.